YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look what we've got here. It's a tower exclusive. Tower Hobbies bringing you this ASW 28 in 2-meter size. Really cool. It's 2020 with the winglets that are easily detachable. We have strike plates on both sides of the wings and the tail, as well as an actual landing gear here, but it's not retractable, just to be clear. We have cheaters here, and here, and here, and then an exit here for air. This thing went together really quick. I mean, even for us, which is amazing. And we outfit ours with an AR 637T. So we had the, hold on. You guys always love R2-D2 being mentioned in our videos. So he's gonna be in this one. We have the Vario installed. Now that being said, you can use the 631 or the 630 if you want. They recommend the 631 because of the antenna. So anyway, here goes nothing. This is on 4S 2200 30C. I'm using a Gen 2 pack. You could use a Gen 1, but just to be clear, check this out. Even though we have an 8-minute timer, we have our voltage, which is super nice. So I can fly with impunity, knowing that we're not gonna run our battery out. So throttle cuts off. Just gonna show you my takeoff flap setting. Landing setting with Crow. As you can see, we continue to have that. We mixed in a little bit of rudder. That's our takeoff flaps, no more mix, and then ordinary flight mode. And we'll show you exactly how to do that. If you haven't already seen the video, our unbox build radio setup should be available right now. All you have to do is click that video and there'll be a link to the playlist at the end, or you can search for it. All right, guys, without further ado, here goes nothing. Takeoff flaps deployed, 60% throttle. Oh yeah, that was an easy launch. I didn't give any stick input just to show you what it would do. Oh, good Lordy Lord. That thing is gorgeous. 50% throttle. Now I am gonna be doing some trimming, so I gotta stay in the throttle for just a second. Okay, out of the throttle. Trying to get behind stuff so you can see it. Okay, a little bit of elevator trim needed. There's our 100% throttle. Going up, oh yeah, plenty of elevator authority. Not too much wing flex, but it's not a limp noodle. And it's also not a stiff noodle. Stiff noodles are no fun either. Plenty of upside down authority right now, mostly because I need to trim my elevator, I think. And we basically have our CG right between the two provided marks. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a little bit of elevator trim. Okay, just an AS3X only here. Just a little bit of roll to the left, excuse me, to the right. Coming over the tree line and then down, you ready? Mm-hmm. Another gorgeous pass. Love the scream. I hope you guys can hear it. Pretty dang good roll rate for an ASW 28. These things are generally pretty anemic on their roll rate. Okay, so takeoff flaps here. Oh yeah, slows it down nicely. A little bit of trim on the rudder. Excuse me, a little bit of trim on the ailerons. Okay, so here we go. Into the throttle, out of the throttle. Okay, just trying to go straight. Okay, a little bit of roll, correction. Okay, and a little bit more elevator once we get another pass. We're gonna bring it through these trees here. We're still in our takeoff flaps. The things is loving the takeoff flap setting. Using the rudder to just kind of spin it around here. Super efficient flight performance out of the flaps altogether. Nice stall turn coming here, if I can get it. Oh yeah. And then let's send it. Now this is a Tower Hobby exclusive, which means you can use your coupon total, whatever coupons you've got, coupon codes, and you can store up whatever RC bucks and stuff like that with Tower that you want. Look at that, really nice turning radius. Guys, we just couldn't resist getting a beautiful shot of the sunset. And so as a result, I'm in the throttle just a little bit more because we're down in an unfamiliar area.
And that would definitely be the sunrise.
Yes, it is. Takeoff flaps. Oh guys, look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Into the throttle and coming out. Yes, I know this is a sailplane, but the thing is we got to keep it close so you can see it. The thing feels flawless, folks. Love the scream. I've done a lot of ASW 28s. This thing built so easy. The only mistake, let's go ahead and come up here now, camera crew, since we've got our shots. The only mistake I would admit to is we tried to set it up as a sailplane, and we should have just gone straight to the acro like I thought. That led to a little bit of delays in our build. Okay, so let's just show you, there's takeoff flaps. And we are definitely not getting any thermals right now, obviously. And then here's our Crow. Oh man, look at that thing slow down, guys. Holy cow. Oh man, I had to get out of it quick or I was gonna fall to the ground. Now, I gotta admit, I'm usually one of these people, especially on sailplanes, takeoff flaps deployed. The takeoff flaps, it loves the flaps, guys. Because that's more the speed of this plane, I think. Because then you can get that noser heavier flight performance, nice and soft and floaty behavior. And yes, admittedly, I am trying to keep it low so it's behind the trees. And also, I don't want you guys to think that there's a climb with the elevator. I just have noticed in the last couple of passes, I've had to give throttle about the time that I'm giving some elevator. That's not a coupling with the elevator. We've seen that before, by the way, and it's a really bad effect on these sailplanes. Okay, let's get up here and do some tight elevator. Oh man, that was awesome with very low energy. Getting it flying again, and then just drawing it right out. Got to love the way this thing flies. It's every bit as good as the other ASW 28s that we put tons of effort into. Okay, with rudder roll rate, it's very good. And going up, shooting the moon with a little upside down flight performance, and then around, shooting the moon, all the way around, upside down. Oh, by the way, guys, this one has safe as well. Into safe now. That's called trust, folks. I'm in safe. I'm just gonna do a couple maneuvers, take off flaps deployed. I'm actually gonna get a little bit of throttle. I noticed my lanyard was tangled. Okay, still in safe here, just gonna show you. Out of throttle, a little bit of roll authority, or excuse me, rudder authority and roll authority, for example. Full up, full down, let go of the sticks. The thing does just fine. That is with takeoff flaps deployed, just to get it to slow down a little bit for us. Okay, out of the, I feel like we got just a slight roll to the right. Now this is with throttle and we're still in safe. Okay, now I'm gonna turn off everything. So we're in no stabilization and no safe. Okay. Now this is a setting you're gonna want if you plan, oh yes. This is a setting you're gonna want if you decide you wanna search for thermals. Let's show you the unlimited vertical or near unlimited vertical. Okay, not so much. One more pass. Look how solid it is. It's not very windy right now. So if I've ever seen a plane that screams, I don't need stabilization, this might be it. But there again, when you're out slope soaring and you're in crazy conditions, because you're not gonna be flying in dead calm conditions, you're gonna be glad you've got it, folks. So take off flaps as you relax. Look at that beautiful climb as you get into it. Now we're gonna go back to AS3X. Guys, this thing is just super beautiful. What do you think, camera crew, so far?
It's really pretty. It looks solid.
Feels solid. Let's go to Bull. Let's go up to the driveway here. We'll take some smooth steps for you guys. You may have noticed we switched our windsock location slightly. It's out about 14 feet. It's pretty much under where the power lines would have been now. So it's kind of a new thing for us. And anytime you have a new obstruction or a change in your flight pattern, you have to be a little bit extra careful. And so what I'm doing is I'm just being that. I'm being a little bit careful. And folks, this thing flies on rails. Now, admittedly, it is pretty calm, as you can see from the windsocks. But I'm just gonna tell you something, folks. If you want a plane that is gonna just knock your socks off and you don't have to reinvent the wheel, folks, this thing is easy to set up. And if there's anything I can tell you that they were completely wrong about in the manual, it's the flight times. We are at 15.1 volts on 4S. I've not been super nice to it. And then look with Crow, watch how much this thing slows down. Look at this. I could probably catch it on the Maiden. Okay, into the takeoff flaps. I have a 3-second deployment speed about 14 steps forward there. Thank you, perfect. That's good enough. I just need somewhere to walk around, yeah. Okay. Take off flaps now. And then full crow. Watch this thing, watch this thing. Guys, that is so non-eventful, and that is on hard pavement. Okay, so let's talk about voltage for a second. We're not gonna shut this flight down. Throttle cut is on though. So we're at 15.1 volts. And I did have my boop, 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 beep, beep, beep off. So now that timer is not got a 1 out on it. So we only have about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, or excuse me, that's 5:33 out of 8. So we should be good. I mean, we've got tons of power. And that's the rationalization between a 1 out timer, is a 1 out timer is gonna make more sense on like a P-51 or some sort of a fast flying or jet especially. But if you have this is basically a glider, you're gonna end up needing to do, you can just leave that 1 out off, and then it's only gonna count when you're giving throttle. Now I wanna do one adjustment here. You can see we got a little bit of trim here, a little bit of trim here, and a little bit of trim there. But what I need to do is I need to go into my flap system, and I need more down correction when deploying, which is actually about what we had initially. So ironically, if you guys watch the unbox build and radio setup, you'll be able to see that. Now, the cool thing is when you've got smart technologies, you can set up critically low alarms, which will help you to see where you actually are, okay? So, but for me, you can see the Vario stuff, 255 feet, and then 15.2 volts. So we're just gonna stay on that. We're gonna do another hand launch. You can stay there.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna go into takeoff flaps. Throttle cut is currently off as a precaution, keeping that prop away from my face, because when you do have a throttle cut on, you're always more susceptible to forgetting to launching with it on. And since I hold with my left hand, I can't get to that switch because this has the plane in it. So you're already rushing to get back to the switch. So just be super careful about that. Okay, so I'm gonna just show you this launch and we'll do safe, okay? So safe is on, and I'm just gonna do no work, okay? Okay, so I might have had to help it a little bit there. Probably should have had the flaps on. Okay, so I'm into AS3X. It was powerful enough, it would have eventually corrected. But yeah, probably not the best way to do it, guys.
Not the prettiest launch, but
it definitely got it done.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have kept getting it done is the problem. So guys, maybe look when you're launching. Rudder to keep that nose down. A little bit of left rudder. Into crow. Okay, into takeoff flaps now. Just crow on the top of that turn. Okay, full crow. Ooh, we need even more, goodness gracious.
More elevator correction?
Yep, a lot more. See this? It's really wanting to nose up. Hard into the power. Okay, you want to try landing the other way quick? We'll do a little grass hops this time.
Okay.
Okay, so takeoff flaps are deployed. We're going to burn off some inertia. Then we're going to go full crow. And have to force the nose down a little bit, and we're just going to put it down kind of roughly right in front of our feet. Okay, the takeoff flaps. There it is. Okay, so throttle cut's on. Now let's talk about this for a minute. I'm going to decouple my lanyard again. We're going to click into flap system, and we're just going to go like kind of crazy on this. We're going to go to like 20. It's just, we just need a lot of elevator correction. Our takeoff flaps are just a small percentage of the overlaying flap settings, and we'll show you in the unbox build radio setup how we set it up, and it's very effective to slow that thing down. So I'm gonna go ahead and launch here. You can stay there, I'll launch it that way. This time I'm gonna look. What do you say?
That's probably a good idea.
Okay, good idea. All right, so we'll do another launch style, but I'm gonna look this time. Throttle cut's off. I'm in AS3X, and I'm in takeoff flaps. Woo! So we're basically finding the limits of this aircraft for you on Brian Phillips RC. There is a lot of power on 4S, but you still kind of you're gonna need to give it a bit of a hand launch just to get it moving. I was hoping we could get to the point where we could just kind of let go of it. Okay, now I'm in throttle, I'm just cruising. I'm gonna go up, get some altitude. Okay, got my altitude. All right, now I'm just gonna relax. I'm just gonna go that way. Out of the throttle, or excuse me, out of the takeoff flaps. We're gonna build up some speed, and we're gonna show you what it looks like. Oh, there's our leveling off. We've got the boop, 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 beep, beep, going up, and then going down. Full crow. Jeez, we need even more still. And then in throttle, look at this, guys, just for fun. Look how slow this thing is. When you got full crow and throttle, you can bring this thing just wherever you want. Tons of roll authority still, tons of good control authority, but you have to just let that throttle die. As soon as you want, you can bring it in, chop your throttle, and then get it on the ground. That is amazing. Okay, out of the Vario setting, because that's gonna be annoying, unless you're using it, throttle cuts on, we're gonna click and go down to the flap system, and we're just gonna throw caution in the wind. We're gonna go to 30%, and I think that's probably gonna do it. I thought 20 was gonna do it, but we had it set to 6 initially. Now, normally Crow is gonna help counter the inboard flaps, but the inboard flaps are bigger and more deflection than the outboard ailerons, which are flaperons in this case. Throttle cut is currently on. We're gonna keep it that way until we're ready to launch. I'm gonna launch this way if you wanna kind of come up to the edge and see. Okay, this time we're gonna go take off flaps. Throttle cuts off. We're gonna do about 50% throttle. Just a little bit of a hand launch there. Okay, full throttle. Out of the flaps altogether. Gorgeous. Now we're in the backyard. Well, the middle yard, I should say. Okay, here we go. Coming in. Now watch for the crow right now. Goodness gracious, we still have some ballooning. That's incredible, folks. Okay, so take off flaps only now. A little bit of active flying there when you're between modes, even with the 3-second deployment speed. So the way you could fix that is you basically set up a longer deployment. Okay, full crow on the way down, and then back into takeoff so you can get some airspeed and get the surfaces working. Absolutely gorgeous, folks. Into the throttle hard. Beautiful. That's about 75% roll rate. Coming right around. We're out of the throttle this time. Oh yeah, a little faster roll there just to keep our energy, and then we'll do a loop. Okay, maybe we will. Yeah, we got it. Okay, gonna go right just so I don't hit the trees. Just showing you efficiency here. Or lack therein, depending on your opinion. Okay, take off flaps as we make our roll right in front of the residential property, also known as the airport. Okay, full landing flaps and crow on the way into this maneuver. So folks, I can't say enough about this plane. It's amazing. If you've ever used a sailplane, you'll appreciate this sailplane. It's big enough to matter. It's got oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, it comes with replacement winglets. That is amazing. So it comes with 4. Okay, take off flaps just to give us a little bit of an edge while we're getting our airspeed back up after a large stall turn. Okay, into full throttle. And guys, you fly this thing forever. I feel like we've been flying for a long time. Cam Crew, what do you got on the time, roughly?
19 minutes right now.
Oh yeah, you could go for a long, long time. Let's hold on. I'm just gonna keep climbing for a little bit. Keep it legal. Oh, whoops. Maybe just a little bit over the 398 mark there. The thing that's cool about this, if you get really far away from yourself, you can go right to safe. "235 feet there. That is so cool. I'm gonna just go into safe for a second. I'm gonna let it loiter. Okay, so you see the altitude there? That is so cool. So you can make sure you're respecting all the stupid rules. 14.7 volts, guys. You could go forever. Okay, out of safe now. Actually, I'm gonna go out of all of it. Take off flaps now. Make a left-hand turn at the moon. Out of the takeoff flaps. Gosh, I love that scream. It's so cool. So folks, if you're thinking about buying this thing, buy it from the links. And you'll be supporting Brian Phillips RC. I love it. I think it's a great rendition of the ASW 28. We've done a number of them before, as you may have known from following the channel for a long time. Okay, into takeoff flaps again. Oops, that was Crow. So definitely have nothing bad to say about the plane. I think I could play with trimming a little bit more, and I'm just kind of curious if I can land it, if I can catch it. No, it's just too dang good. It got to the ground first. So let's go up here and hold it, and let's talk about this. 14.6 volts, guys. I could go for a long time, but the problem is, really what this plane needs is okay, so you can see the Crow. There's one thing I would do different if I could do it different. I would make a little bit more deflection on the ailerons, okay? So throttle cut's on, so I'm safe to do this. And it's not hard to do that, guys. It's very, very basic and easy process. Also, I noticed that we picked up a little bit of grass. I was gonna show you that when we pick this up in that vent. I don't like where that grass is because it's gonna be next to a hot ESC, okay? So these work great, these work great. And look at that, you've got 1, 2, 3 holes. If you went to either the middle hole or the lower hole, you could get more deflection on these ailerons. That would help a lot with Crow. And so if you help with Crow, these have to be up a lot as compared to your landing flaps. The inboard flaps are longer than your outboard ailerons. Okay, so what that means is that you actually have to go proportionally a little bit higher, otherwise you're depending on elevator compensation to get that nose to stay level as soon as you're transitioning. Trouble is, it's such a drastic change, it just inevitably wants to climb, okay? So again, I could go like super crazy on the rudder, or excuse me, on the elevator compensation and see if we could get it to level out. But really, I think what's gonna ultimately happen is that you'll eventually slow the plane down just by actively flying it in that transition state. You could also open up your timeline to more than 3 seconds. But we have a good roll rate right now, and I don't wanna screw it up, and I wanted to show it stock. But here's the thing, you can go ahead and go to that next hole in, and you'll get a little bit more movement on this, and that might do it. And really, as long as you center the surfaces, then I don't think you're gonna have to do much else. You'll just do that, your AS3X, everything should be fine. You obviously didn't see any oscillation in our entire flight, and we're right at 50% on our master gains. In fact, that last landing was no AS3X or safe, and I was just in off. So I love the way this plane flies. I love the way this plane looks. I love the fact that it's coming from Tower. We haven't seen anything like this from Tower for a while. This is a Tower exclusive, so super excited to be working with them on this plane. And as you guys know, the way we do it on Brian Phillips RCs, we show all the flaws we can find, we show all the positives we can find. And I love the fact that it comes with extra winglets or sharklets or whatever you want to call those. I love the fact that this thing bolts together with a total of 6 bolts. Yep. And 2 rods that have to be technically screwed in, so that, I don't know if you want to count those, so it'd be 8. But even still, this thing came almost fully assembled. About the only thing we had to do was put our radio in. And I must admit, the radio placement was a little bit weird because I wanted to leave room to move the battery. In a sailplane, you're gonna be flying in different circumstances. You might wanna fly a bigger pack that's heavy if you're trying to penetrate wind in a slope soaring environment. And you might wanna fly a super light 1300 milliamp way up here. Okay, so it just depends on the application. But I do like that this lug is thick and beefy and strong and stout. And you can line it up and it actually makes the alignment of the canopy well. Some of them are a little bit too small on this type of plane and it's undesirable. Also, there is a cool cockpit markings, which I love. Not a super detailed cockpit canopy area, and that's okay because I think some FPVers are gonna wanna take out this windscreen and go ahead and do their magic. But that being said, I've got nothing really majorly bad to say about it. I didn't feel like any twist was a problem here. There's a little bit of twist, but we've seen 2 to 3 times as worse. I'm telling you, I got some ASWs downstairs that I could actually like twist that almost to 90 degrees before it breaks. because it's made of, you know, super crappy materials, and there's no reinforcements. There's reinforcements all the way out the wing to here, and then all the way out again. This thing is super stiff and robust, but not so stiff that you don't see that cool bending effect like you would on a real one. So I love that they struck the balance in the middle. Also, the large wing surface area really makes it feel good in the sky. Doesn't feel scary like it's gonna stall on you all the time. Although I could admittedly say, I do feel like I need to play with the trim just a little bit, or possibly, same thing on the elevator, might just go in one hole, but then of course I'll have to back off my gains on the AS3X. Not necessarily safe, but on the AS3X, so that we don't get a high-speed oscillation. Now, also, I must say, this plane is gonna take a little bit of playing with just to get all those little details worked out to your specific desires. But on our Maiden, that was pretty dang good. And also, you don't have to launch it with like a huge arm strength. So like if you're, you know, if you're flying and you're trying to launch this and you're not, you know, in great shape, you're a little older and you don't have the strength to do a heavy hand launch, this thing shouldn't be a big deal. Just remember, I wasn't even going full throttle. If you go full throttle, it's gonna be super easy to launch this thing and get it out of the hole. Also, I felt like we had ample power. I never felt like I was weak on power the whole flight. I'm actually putting my finger in to touch the motor. I don't even feel anything. I mean, granted, I got my nitro gloves on because it's cool this morning, but I love it. This is amazing. Tower, great job. Thank you for bringing us another amazing product. We love to be supporting you in this way, and we hope there's many more to come. Definitely keep up the good work. And by the way, guys, one of the easiest builds we've done in a long time, but we did go a little bit longer because we wanted to include the more sophisticated Air 637 T, so we could get that vario for you. The beep, 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 boop, boop, boop seems a little bit stupid today because we don't have much thermal activity. But wait till spring, and you know, you've got the trees and everything baking, and you can go out in the morning and launch this thing, and you could fly for hours, literally on one battery. So super exciting to look forward to that. And also super exciting to get out and find a place to slope soar this thing, because it is gonna be a great slope soaring ship. I cannot wait to do it. It's gonna be amazing. Also, if you decide you wanna set yours up with camber and go ahead and do the sailplane operation, you can do that, it's fine. You just need to be aware of a few things. One, I can't walk you through the step-by-step examples because I ran into too many different technical issues that I couldn't resolve. And so I don't necessarily suggest you do it, but if you're gonna do it, it's definitely doable. You might need more radio channels to get it to work properly. I did it on my NX8, and I just ran into some issues where I didn't have enough channels. I think you need that surplus to get up into the 10. So the NX10 would help to eliminate all those issues would evaporate. And you don't have to necessarily use an 8-channel receiver, but this one, you can actually reach up to higher channels. You just can't do anything with them when you're in a 6-channel receiver. So just keep in mind that telemetry channels and control channels are actually a little bit higher than what you see on the normal screen, because they go to like aux 8, 9, things like that in the sailplane mode. So it's just a weird world. I'm not used to it. I don't want to screw you guys up, so we ended up diverting back to the Acro in our unbox build radio setup. And basically it came down to a firmware driven glitch, I believe, that was attaching switch D, which is the one I wanted to use on my flight mode, was also controlling the inboard flaps by accident because it was calling out like some sort of a systemic issue there. So I just said to abandon it. We just went with the regular Acro, had no problems. It was like the easiest radio setup we've done for a while, given the fact that we added vario and all the different sophisticated features on here. And we did mix in on full Crow. We did mix in a little bit of tie on our rudder to our ailerons. And that's just for the fact that you're gonna have a little bit of a reduction in your roll authority, so that yaw authority will help to kind of mimic and get you rolling a little quicker, since you do have a little bit less of it with full Crow deployment, because your spoilers or your spoilerons go up so high, you've only got a little teeny bit of movement left. Okay, did I miss anything?
I think you covered it all.
Yeah, amazing plane.
Yeah.
definitely, guys, and I do say this occasionally because we review so many planes, and a lot of times I feel like I'm apologizing because we've done so many. I feel guilty because it's amazing to have the opportunity to do what we do, and so we want you guys to never hear the negatives and hear just the positives. This plane is amazing, okay? There's very limited concerns with it. If you even remotely like this, get it. You're gonna love it. It's amazing. It's not gonna let you down. Also, the NX8 has been great, but like I said on this video, if you're trying to do the sailplane configuration, this might be one of the 4th planes that we've run into where it'd be nice to have those additional channels to avoid some of those technical issues, okay? Because with flexibility of extra channels helps you to kind of like walk around some of those weird issues that, you know, let's just be frank, you're not gonna get the manufacturers to fix every single weird glitch. They will eventually. And yes, that's coming from Brian Phillips RC, who works with all these companies, but I know the way it is in the real industrial world, and when we have firmware issues, it's hard to get them fixed. So, unless you're really good like me, and then you can call the people that know how to do things. But anyway, that's not to say I know how to get a hold of Spectrum and do that, by the way, just to be totally full disclosure there. But this plane is awesome. I love it, and I hope you guys will get it. The link's in the video description below. You'll definitely be able to buy it there. And then also, we have a link on Brian Phillips RC that's gonna show you coupon codes for the different affiliates and things we work with. And there may be even a link in the top of the video description for coupon codes for a little bit, but that may not be there forever. So if you go to Brian Phillips RC, if you're in any doubt, if you're missing, you know, something that you can either enter at checkout or a link that you can follow that will get you some sort of a discount, we'll make sure that those are available for you. And then if you ever want to shop at Tower, you can also go back and check that as well, because Tower's running a lot of specials all the time. They do a little bit more of that, more so than the Horizon hobby side of things. And ever since Horizon got the Tower brand, there's been some disparity in the way the coupon codes and things like that work, because you've got the e-flite line that you can't use the Tower coupons for, and the Tower bucks and things like that. And then you've got the e-flite stuff over here with the Horizon that you can't necessarily, so it just gets a little confusing. I don't even keep track of it anymore. It's so confusing. If you guys are used to being confused, you'll know how to use it and apply those values in your own situation. So I'm not even gonna tell you how to do it. I'm just gonna say we got links for you. And if you're not even concerned with messing with all that, then just follow our links. It's an economical plane. It's not like the cheapest one. It's definitely not the most expensive. You're gonna be a couple $100 into it by the time you get the plane, and you're gonna be into the transmitter. If you do an expensive transmitter like this, you're gonna be over $100 for that thing. And then hopefully you already have this, you already have the battery. We didn't demand that battery, anything crazy, so you could use something you've already got. It's not like you have to go out and buy a new 4S 2200 like we did with the F14, where that had a really small canopy. So I think you're gonna be golden with whatever you've already got. And 4S 2200 is a really common battery. The other thing is you could fly on a smaller pack, but I just wanna warn you, this thing is not an amazingly light plane. It's not an amazingly heavy plane in my opinion. It's somewhere in the middle, but I like the power. Power saves lives, even in sailplanes. You saw when I was trying to do that show off, like don't look, you know, safe launch. The thing will get into a little bit of a climb, and you gotta be Johnny on the spot. If you do that, it's unrecoverable, you're gonna break your plane for sure. If I wouldn't have recovered from that, it would have been broken. Something would have broke on this thing. Even with the reinforcements, I guarantee you something would have broke. So that being said, 4S is probably the way to go. I'm gonna stick with that. I think it's a smarter move. You can always use less throttle, folks, and you can use a 4S and actually change your throttle curve if you're in the sailplane, or change your throttle output through the servo setup if you wanted to do that. I don't know why you would ever limit yourself like that. But if you got a kid flying, you wanna limit it a little bit, that's fine too. So anyway, just a couple of thoughts from Brian Phillips RC. We love that you guys are here with us. We love that you're supporting us by being our Patreons. If you wanna become one, there's a link down below. PayPal if you like one-time gifts or you don't like the monthly obligation, we get that, but the monthly support really does help YouTubers that are depending on the income from the YouTube channel. For us, we still have day jobs. Well, I have a day job and my wife's day job is taking care of the YouTube channel. So anyway, guys, we have 2 adults working on this pretty much full time, and we have 4 kids. We have 6 humans that are depending on this, and like 3 giant.
One giant cat. And
1
2
giant lazy
cats.
cat, and then 2 annoying cats. And then we used to have like even more. But fortunately, we have a lot of people that wanted cats. And foxes. God rest their souls. Anyway, all right, guys, that's all you get for today. Love this thing. Good job, Tower. Come back for more. Check it out in the video description below. And definitely, guys, don't forget, stay tuned. If you haven't already clicked the bell for notifications, what are you waiting for? There's so much new stuff coming from Brian Phillips RC. I think this week we had 3 new releases.
Probably.
In the span of like 4 days. That's incredible. We don't like doing it that way, by the way. Thank you, manufacturers. But at the end of the day, we want to bring you guys the latest and greatest as soon as we can, so you can get in there while the iron. I mean, you gotta strike while the iron's hot. If you like planes, you gotta order them right now.
Yeah.
Because even though the supply chain's getting back, it's not back totally. Okay, it's getting back to normal, but it's not there. So if you want something, order it. It takes time for them to replenish stocks. You don't want to be the guy that's like, I wish I would have got it. So hate to say it, but that's the way it is. That's the world we live in for a while. Hopefully we'll get caught up soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned.